Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Girl's Guide to Jesus. If you're new to this channel, I'm Faith, and I'm a girl who loves Jesus and loves talking about him, and I'm really excited for today's video, so let's get right into it. Just a disclaimer, I'm using my computer to see my notes. I have a whole spreadsheet down, just so I stay on topic. But as humans, we're always talking, listening, conversing, and making decisions. And out of all the noise we hear, there are three main voices that we're always hearing. One of them is the human conversations we have, God's voice, and the devil's voice. So the more physical and heard voice is humans. It's our conversations every day, it's with our friends, with our families, with our teachers. And this usually builds up a lot of our opinions, our values, and just how we speak. Vocal stems, all that stuff is all human to human relationships, right? Then there are two more spiritual voices which we have access to, and sometimes we can't really hear physically, right? And that's God's voice and that's the devil's voice. On that note, many times I feel like that we, and I personally, we tend to base our thoughts about ourselves and our values and how we think on the voices of other things over God's. For example, humans, parents, teachers, friends, and the devil's voice in our head, we let that control how we think about ourselves, and we listen to that voice over God's voice. Recently, I feel like there has been a lot of spirit of rejection in these generations, and many people nowadays, they can just feel like they're not worthy enough or feel like they're not loved. And even in friends I know or family or just online, so much people are just no one loves me. And I'm like, who told you that? Who are you listening to? So basically that's kind of just what this whole video is going to be about. That's kind of just a little introduction. But yeah, who are you listening to and who are you letting yourself listen to almost, if you get it. Okay, so this is something that I feel like God gave me a little revelation of, because I don't know, I don't think I would have thought of this myself, but I feel like the devil loves working through ways that make you feel like it's your fault. And I heard this from a pastor in my church actually, not long ago, and she was talking about the voice of God and the voice of the devil, right? And the question was, and it was a bit of a Q&A happening at church, right? So the question was, how do you know who's talking? Because I feel like that is something I struggle with a lot. I'm like, is it you talking in your mind, or is it God, or is it the devil? It's just very hard to differentiate between the voices, right? And she said something that really stuck with me. So basically she said this. She said that the devil loves to speak in the first person. I'm so ugly, I'm not worth it, no one loves me. You see those first person pronouns, I and me? It's very it's very down-putting on yourself, and it's through the perspective of yourself, you're thinking this, no one loves me, But God, he speaks in second person. He speaks you're enough, for I know the plans I have for you. I died for you, I love you. And he doesn't think so that was so smart. I was just when you think about it in that perspective, God is not saying, I'm so ugly, I'm not worth it. He doesn't ever make us feel like we're speaking stuff about ourselves, but he speaks over us positivity. I love you. I died for you. For I know the plans I have for you. It's just very, that. What she said made so much sense, so I thought I'd just share that here. And when she put it in that perspective, it made so much sense to me. Because the devil always puts things in our own minds to make us believe it. He will do anything to make you believe something. He doesn't want you to think the devil did that. He'll make you think you're this way because you're this way, no? And sometimes it's done even with the help of other people. For example, a parent or a friend you looked up to speaking bad over you. Or they said, you're so annoying, you're not worth it. And the devil will use that and change it into, I'm not worth it. And that's, I feel like, if you get it, you get it, but I'm so annoying, and it becomes something we think, and we have creative, therefore it must be true. So we create things but it's not actually us, it's the devil. Whereas God speaks in a way that encourages us. And when I said like second person, it's speaking over us like a parental type of perspective, you know, like I love you. And Jesus loves his girls, you know, like, and it's unmatched to anyone else. He's truly a father figure because it's just how he speaks over us. And when you see, like, when you read the Bible, you really see God speaking to you, and it really puts those thoughts in your mind, like, I'm enough, you know, when you realize he called you enough. So getting a little bit into the Bible today, I love the story of the woman with the crippled back in Luke 13, okay? So I'm just going to read up a little bit of it for some context. On the Sabbath, Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues, and a woman was there who had been crippled by a spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then he put her hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. So that was the verse, Luke 13, if you want to search it up. But from the start of the verse, it just amazes me how, like, in a crowd of people, those synagogues were, like, packed with people, sometimes chaotic, but in that crowd, Jesus noticed her. Like, she didn't even need to ask. She didn't even need to, like, do anything to be brought to him, but he saw her. And back then, these disabilities, like bent over backs or, like, broken arms or crippled legs, they were not, like, just anything. They were, like, people saw them as a family curse. They saw you as, like, basically cursed or unfruitful spirit. Like, you did something to get this, you know? Like, you deserved it in that way. So having these disabilities, it's so, like, imagine the shame she really went through, that woman. And to walk through crowds every day, the shame people probably looked upon her, right? And even how uncomfortable it would be to be bent over like that. Like, even sometimes when I'm, like, on the computer and my back is bent over, it's actually, like, it's uncomfortable. So imagine being like that for 18 years and the shame of other people. It's like, it would be an unbearable pain. And what really stood out to me was that most importantly, the things people probably would have said to her, like, you are cursed, and you're horrible, you're not enough, you can't be here, you're not clean, you know? And that must have changed her mind and made her think that stuff about herself. She must have thought, I'm not worthy, no one loves me, I'm just disgusting. Like, that's probably stuff she thought about. And it makes me think that, like, yet even all that stuff, Jesus went out of his way to heal her and heal her from that pain. So, yeah, but that's not even the part that shocks me yet. That was just the context. So carrying on, I'm going to read a bit more of the passage. Because Jesus healed on the Sabbath day, the rest of the leaders were so mad, saying that healing isn't for, like, today, right? That wasn't from the Bible. Sorry, I forgot. But just because it was the Sabbath day, they're not allowed to heal, right? Apparently. And then Jesus says to them, "You hypocrites." And this is, I don't know, this one phrase just makes me so happy, seeing the way Jesus stands up for his girls, his daughters. And anyway, then should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, who Satan has kept bound for 18 long years, be set free on the Sabbath day from what bound her? So this is the part that makes me so happy, because the way he defended someone who back then would not get any respect, like, already back then women were not getting the respect. They were seen, like, way lower than men. And she was disabled, so she was probably seen, like, as a whole curse, a shame, like, that's probably how people saw her. And even then, Jesus, a guy who probably never met her, only then, well, he always knows his name, but she probably never met him, he stood up for her, and his love for his daughter was so big. He defended her so sternly, too. It wasn't even like, stop, don't do that. It was like, you hypocrites, you know? So I think that's just so beautiful. And generally, he's clocking the people left and right because they were being hypocrites. So mainly from that story, what I got from it is just that same love he had for her, how he spoke over her pain, over her shame almost, that same love he has for many other women. There's so many stories like this of him loving his girls. The bleeding woman, Mary Magdalene, like times where women would have not got the light, like nothing from other people, especially if they're diseased or bleeding or anything like that. Jesus had that love for them, to stand up for them, to speak positivity over them, to speak healing over them. And that same love he had for them, he has for us right now. And he speaks, and if you just read your Bible, you see how he speaks over us. He loves us, he cares for us, he died on the cross for us. And if we would just listen to the right voice, maybe we wouldn't feel so ashamed. And most of the time, it's not us, it's the devil. And that's something I just really want to talk about, because so many times I just see so many girls being put down, and it's just by themselves. Like, they're like, no one loves me, no one cares for me, I'm such a disappointment. I'm like, stop. Like, no. And it's like that, and it was like, who told you this? Because I know it wasn't just made up by yourself. Something happened, maybe it was a person. And if it was your mind, it wasn't your mind. It was the devil. Because he loves to make you think this way. And it's, who are you listening to, really? Are you going to listen to that one boy in 7th grade who said something about you? Or that one teacher who said you're not smart enough? Or your own parents, maybe, who said something about you? Or are you going to listen to God, to Jesus, who died on the cross for you, who would do anything for you, just like those Bible verses, like, stand up for you? Would you listen to that instead? Personally, for me, I still struggle with insecurities and negative thoughts, and that's all okay. It's things, that's all stuff that's going to happen in life. You're going to feel insecure sometimes. But it's really like, when I just think about if you just think about these moments in the Bible, to have a God that loves me so much, who tells me not to be afraid and would stand up for me, why wouldn't I listen to that voice? And I think that's just the moral of this video, really. I don't know if it made sense, but I hope it did. But technically, what I wanted to get out of it was just that example of the crippled woman, was just to show you even just a small bit of his love. Like, she did not ask for it. Maybe she didn't deserve it. We don't know. She was just in so much pain and so much shame. And Jesus loved her so much that he healed her and defended her. And that defending part just is so significant, because it was his voice. He spoke such positivity over her and stood up for her when no one did, and probably became a voice that she listened to forever, because, like, she's probably so freed. And I think we have that access to freedom even more than they did back then. All you gotta do is just ask God. This is what I do, some little advice. I just, in the morning or whenever you feel like that of anxiety or insecurities, like just before you're getting ready, all those thoughts, just ask God. Just silence yourself and ask God, can you just, like, silence any voice that's not yours. Silence every thought that's not yours, and only let me hear your voice. And that's what I say, and generally I promise you it'll work. In Jesus' name. That's because when you hear his voice, you realize how wrong the other voices were. And once I understood the voice of the devil, like the whole first person and second person thing, it really was so much easier to block it off, because then I knew his plan, and like, it's not me, and it's not my fault. And it's never your fault, and I just want you all to know, like, it's not you. And you are worth it, and you are loved. But you have to listen to Jesus' voice over the devil's. Okay, so I think that's all I really have for today. I'm low-key sick, so I'm gonna, like, lose my voice if I talk anymore. But I hope you understood where I was coming from. I hope this video was helpful to you, and you are so loved, you are so beautiful, and you are so smart in your own ways. Everyone's smart, bro. And yeah, if you want to look up those verses, it's literally just Luke 13 and just, like, read the whole thing. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. This was such a fun video. I'm so excited to make many more, and I hope you enjoyed it too. I'm so excited. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys!